Okay.
Yes, the days of the girls, I didn't even look at that. Very good.
I think the Dates for Girl is such a rewarding program. And it is, throughout, it does such a good job on its own, but with the benefit of Altrusa, there's so much opportunity to help where clubs who usually do not participate in international projects can participate in international projects.
So if they don't make them, they can give $10 a member or $100.
Listen, have a fundraiser, have you an international fundraiser, donate your money through the Dates for Girls program. It works. All right, so I know Nicole and Jennifer's still away. We're gonna go ahead and start this one book at a time. How many of y'all are familiar with our international president's program about encouraging people to participate in one book at a time? This is Kathy Foley's kind of her program for her biennium. And it's we can do this. This is very achievable. I don't know if any of y'all remember in 2017 when International asked us all to participate in 100 hours of service to recognize the 100-year anniversary. And so a little bit more, but it is an achievable thing. So we're going to talk about one book at a time. Okay, you can go ahead. So International provided this slideshow, and I think it's really cute because I like the little superhero thing. So Kathy Foley and International is challenging all the clubs at Altrusa International to donate at least 500 books or 500 hours of community service over this biennium. Does Enterprise already has a book donation program, don't they? Do y'all donate books?
We did.
Asher Club last year, they did for Coffee County Family Services. And the kids actually raised it and then they had a dance. Oh, Leah, were you the sponsor then? Okay, here's your sponsor right there. You started and I'll finish.
I mean, exactly what she said, they raised books, it was a Christmas party, but they just had a donation for books, was the entry fee to go to the Christmas party, and pulled them that way, and they ended up donating, it was pretty close to 200 books, family services.
And then we had $125 that we spent, and we got another 100 and some books. But that is Coffee County Family Services. They take a book with them and visit.
So as International, as all Altruisas, we're being basically challenged to raise 1 million books, 1 million hours of service combined. And it's doable. It is very doable. So this is what we're going to do. So, and this is in here. Literacy is the road to human progress and the means through which every man, woman, and child can realize his or her full potential. So the idea is, how can we help fight literacy? There is one book at a time is the name of what they call. There are a lot of people, I say it's not just Kathy Foley, because I found this everywhere. One book at a time is the suggested route to have people get out of being illiterate. The idea is to accomplish one book at a time. You read a book, you've got to finish that book. Read another book. So you go separate. What we're going to do as clubs is we're going to provide those books, because if we can raise 500 books and we have 500 books that people can read one at a time. So the only one read at one time, that's 500 people who read a book.
Well, our club used to donate a book to me every baby. We would give them their first book, but we stopped doing that.
One of our club's things we do every year is, today is Make a Difference Day. There's not much going on in Jack on Make a Difference Day. But what we do is yesterday, every year, the Friday before Make a Difference Day, we donate books to the local daycare. So yesterday, we donated 60 books to the local daycare. So. Alright, so we're gonna fight or lose, you one book at a time. It's whether the book drive, direct purchase, or fundraiser as entry costs, just like I talked about for your dance. You will learn ways at each goal. It's very funny that Susie sent this to me, because I didn't get to go to convention, so I didn't hear about it. And I, wasn't up on everybody's on the website. Did Enterprise, do a application for an international foundation grant?
We didn't, we got that one this time.
So, one thing that we started over the pandemic, believe it, is we started the little libraries. Have y'all seen the little libraries? We have a little library. Our little library needs some upkeep at the moment, but we have a little library.
Where do you have in the library?
It's at Design Chapel Senior Center. It's in their parking lot. It's close enough, you literally can drive through, get you a look and go home. It's a drive-through, the library. But
Okay.
we have a little library. And when we started, and I tried to find her name, and I could, she's a member, Jennifer, do you remember the lady at Enterprise? She's a English teacher.
Tara Avery, somebody that's now.
Yeah, Stephanie McIntosh from our club works at Enterprise.
Oh.
And, one of the teachers there, she helps collect books and helps start the little library. And she told us that if we could get the box and the location, that she would give us the books to put in it. Today, we have not put any books in our little library, Altrusa. We do basically the upkeep of them. Because our community has embraced it. I noticed that there are people, who was it? Somebody put a bunch of the search words, find the words and stuff in it. And my mom's neighbor come by, she goes, did you go to town? She goes, no, I went to the senior citizen center, I got inside of the little library. But we have people in our community make donations to it, and it works, it's a wonderful thing. And I say this we applied for a grant to create, is that 5 more, Jennifer? 5 more little libraries throughout the community, so that more people can access the library.
When I was visiting my grandson and his wife in Birmingham, the neighbor across the street from them was putting in one. And I think that person is a retired teacher, and they finished it while I was there, and they had good books in it. Do you follow Sean Dietrich on,
I
did you read his one about, he's in, I think he was in Savannah, but what is it,
Tybee Island.
Tybee Island? He mentioned about seeing one.
The first one I ever saw was in Tybee Island.
Okay.
And we went there on vacation, and I'm like, what's these little books here? I thought when I looked at it, it might be like the travel guides, but it's not. It's actual books you can go. And the lady who was there that day told us that a lot of people will borrow the book and will go sit out and enjoy the atmosphere and have a book. And then they bring it back. So it is, but in I mentioned our grant because one of the things that we have, because in your grant you promise you're going to do things. But one of the things that we promise to do is that we're going to start taking book donations at our events to use to either supply those, or if we have an overage, donate into the community itself. So, all right. So we're going to do this one book at a time to reach our goal. And International has provided us with some ideas about how to do this. These are not just ways to donate your books, but also ways to help with the illiteracy issues and ways to collect if you don't do book donations, collect your community service hours. Teach expecting mothers about reading daily. When Brittany was pregnant with her first baby, that's my niece that we love and we treat her like she's our own. When she was expecting her first baby, you know, she had to go to a couple of classes of some sort. And the first thing they taught that the importance of reading to your children while you're pregnant. About how it helps, you know, build that bond with the mother, but it also has just like an elaborate amount of benefits to the child itself. So, provide books in foreign languages. Jennifer actually mentioned to me this last week that we might want to put some books. So our chapel has seen some Spanish speaking families moving to the area, so it would not, you know, we need to put some language, some books that with some Spanish in it. Partner with local libraries, do a virtual book drive. I've never heard of a virtual book drive. But basically, from the ones that I saw, is you can go on and do a virtual book drive. Basically, you encourage people to like go to Amazon and buy books and have it sent to this or have it sent to that. You don't physically touch the book, you just do that. Create a book club for kids. Host a power lunch at local schools. And I like this one. Several years ago, we had a pediatrician. Was she from Sarah?
She was, but she's in Enterprise now.
Right.
Dr. Ernest.
Yeah, Dr. Ernest. And part of pediatricians provide books. You know, a lot of times doctor's office and dentist office no longer have lots of toys. They used to have toys, you know. I didn't mind going to the dentist because he had a playroom. But books, even for parents. And there's also ways that Green Cross America, you can host a party.
Our Ashton Club is that for Dr. Seuss.
And we're blessed that, in our enterprise club, the library director is in our club. So a couple of years ago, she had an event and we all went out there, and then they have the bookmobile, so she's actually taking the books to them and they check it out. And she and Lisa arranged for, someone, what was her name, Judy?
The Dolly Parton Book Club.
Yes.
That's moving into our area. We have a representative that's here at Enterprise now, and she wants to start a Wiregrass chapter. So she may be reaching out to you guys at Jack to come and talk to you and spread the news up there as well. But she gave us some great information last month when she came and spoke at our meeting. And I mean, it's a great program.
We would love to have her, Jack.
Yeah.
And, they did a presentation for that at the Nashville convention. There was a representative from the National Library there, and, they had big cutout posters of Dolly Parton to introduce her. Anyway, they spoke about that program, and it is awesome. How many books they provided already in Tennessee.
I'm very appreciative that they're moving out of just there, that they've expanded, because there's so many kids who really could use this. I mean, it's, you know. All right, so the next slide. So, even though Altrusa is primarily a literacy, we do other things. And so there's other things we can do. So there are all kind of community service opportunities. Usually if Altrusa is involved, we're doing some type of community service opportunity. So it's not hard to get your 500 hours of community service. And it's my understanding it's 500 hours of community service as a club. Yes. If we can, as club members, I look back, when we did the 100 years, we had 4 or 5 members in our club who reached the 100 hours of service hours. So if you can have 4 or 5 members who can reach 100 hours, a club can surely reach 500 hours total. And there's all kinds of things, which we all have service projects that we work in already, but there's other things that we can do. So you do a food bank or a food pantry. We do not have a park in Jack, we might have to clean up around the post office. You can tutor that, and I was thinking about this when I saw this the other day, that tutoring from an Astor standpoint might be a great program for our Astor girls, but then again, they have their own stuff to do, but it's a wonderful program on both levels. A community garden, collect goods for the homeless, I'm not mistaken, the Astor Girls, Jack, have done the homeless bags before. Yes. So there's lots of opportunities, and there's others. I mean, we, of course, you know, when you're trying to think about it, your mind goes completely blank on what you do. But, you know, we do our club sponsors our Christmas for Children that we do as a service project. We try to spend at least $100 per child. I wonder sometimes, you know, and we're not the only participating person in our area. Our school counselor does a good job of getting a list of the children. We don't, and then we just get like, I think it's first name and basic details, and then we try to spend over $100 per child. I try to look back, and I think it was right at $2,200 we spent last year on 15 kids. So we try to provide that's one of my favorite service projects we do is that. There's all kind of other projects, that you can participate in. So there's really no limit to what you come up with if it works. What are some of Enterprise's service projects?
Well, I was gonna say, the things that are on that list is in March, we always have a day of service. And, it gives not just Altrusa, but, you know, groups across the city, I mean, including the football team. They're the ones who are really doing, cleanup the parks. They're out there at 6 o'clock cleaning up the parks. But we tap into a lot of other groups that are in, our town. And, we do a lot of those things that are on there, just by joining in with others.
You know, we like to do things in the name of Altrusa, but sometimes we have to be a part of something as Altrusa and not be necessarily sponsored. Has Thibodeau come up with any ideas yet?
Thibodeau, for those who don't know, is forming, and their signature project is going to be this elementary school that was really disintegrated by the hurricane. And so I can tell you for sure that's their main focus. And we are currently looking at things that we can do for the school going forward. At the moment, the children have been separated. They're going to 2 different locations because the building is just not fit for purpose. But they will be back, and we are going to build in the heart of that community.
So we're going to move on to the what they call the superhero or heroes honor roll. And these are just, you go into the next one. And it's basically what they call the guardians of global literacy. It's International keeps records. They're going to keep records of all of our work for the next 2 years. And I did not get an answer back, but I will continue to try if this is like we're going to do with the 100 years of the 100 hours that we just kind of keep a log and turn it in, or is it we're going to send updated reports along. So, but they have already said that they're going to keep our stuff, and we want our local clubs. We want District 4 to shine in this. We want to say that District 4 did, you know, we succeeded in this. So, where can we find more super ideas? So we can seek them online, and it's got the we have our login for those who don't know altrusa.org. It's in the book too. But they do have a service project list on altrusa.org with lots of different projects. Whether or not you can do it completely like they have it, you may have to size it to your members, your club, to make it something work. But they're even just Googling a service idea will get you on the right spot. So some of these seem like big expenses, and can we afford it? Well, of course we can afford it because we have grants. And so the Altrusa Foundation offers up to $4,000 per club a year, actually twice a year, for grants. And these are some local foundations that will, and they're here so that you can find, that give out grants also. But also one thing that's not on here is the District 4 Foundation, which will come up it'll be due February 14th. the District 4.
January 1st through February
Yeah.
14th.
We will be accepting applications in for the District 4 Foundation starting January 1st, and it'll go to the 14th of February, which is also the due date for district awards, with the exception of yearbook and newsletter. And you can ask for money for the District 4 Foundation as well. And because of the biennium, I know, and last year, if y'all all recall, the District 4 Foundation gave every club $200 to do with what you want. Kind of a gift from the back, because we did not give out foundation grants because we felt like most clubs could not physically do stuff at the time because of COVID. But this year, every club is eligible to apply for a grant. So we hope to hear from all of y'all for something from your grant. All right. Let's move on to the next one. So we're gonna, it's today or here tomorrow. Yeah, I'll tell you this, when I was a child, I loved to read, and then I went to a teenager and I hated to read. And I had a teacher, she teaches over at Kinston now, her name was Sonia Shaw. Jennifer, was Miss Shaw there when you were there? Miss Shaw told my mother, she said, you need to find something she'll read, she needs to read. She said, you can tell in her English and her literature stuff that she needs to be reading. And now I read 4 books a week. Any given week. This week I'm a little slack because I had company. But I read, and it's a stress reliever. But do y'all have any ideas about things that we can do for this 500 books, 500 hours?
You know, it doesn't need to just be published books. You could make up published, your own little word searches or things and come up with your own little books to give to students. That's still encouraging literacy.
Aunt Gilbert made the little fiber word that's in all goodie bags today. You know, something simple like that, a little story that if you have someone in your club that writes little stories, you can write a short story and hand it out. So it's.
We used to have on any in our club that was really a Katie Kirkland, very talented writer.
We're gonna have to get Miss Kay back.
Yes, we are.
All right, so what has worked, I think we've already kind of discussed these things that have worked for our clubs in the past. I would swear it's Murder Beach, y'all. I thought it was a jet. You know, we've already gone through what kind of things work for our club, but we need to just, sometimes things work for us, sometimes they don't work for us, so we just need to, I think we've already kind of shared our ideas on that. Anybody else have any ideas about work?
I think the main thing is that if we keep up with it, be aware of what we're doing and keeping up with it, because there are a lot of times we're doing service and, we think, don't. And if everybody will keep up with it, you'll be surprised how many hours you do that.
Oh, yeah. You think about, all right, just say, like, if we count our Jack Day thing that we just did. We got there at 7:00. I had to leave, like, right as it was over, because I had to go help my mom. But, probably 2:30, 3 o'clock before most people left? So that's 8 hours. 8 hours, 20 members, that's 160 hours one day. That's more than a fifth of, what you got to do, and so it's not hard. How long did it take y'all to prepare for coffee, the taste of coffee thing? The day of it?
We got there, when 3 or 4 of us got there at 2 o'clock, and we were set up by about 4:30, and we done with out of there by 8 o'clock.
And how many
But
members?
At 5:30, the rest of the club came.
And so how many members was that?
Probably 20.
So y'all have,
Came for like 2 hours, let's just say 2 hours.
so y'all have about 125 hours right there just from one event.
And that's without even counting your prep time before that. Because I know somebody was posting about Taste of Coffee
Almost
County.
everything was done prior to the day of.
Yeah, because I saw
And
that.
That's just the day of, So if you can keep a record, you know, like us, we'll probably just say, we had that on Jack Day, we probably won't count what, because trying to get everybody to count it. But from here forward, say, okay, well, let's try to keep up with our hours, you'll have 500 hours probably before conference.
And remember,
And
it's
this is
over the
by
biennium.
end, so,
2 years, you can do both, 500 books and 500 hours.
you can almost do it twice.
There's a challenge.
It's good news. This is a team from International that is in charge of this program. And so we can get the contact information. It's supposed to be on the International website, I believe. But we can find the contact information, and that might be a good thing, Nicole, to put in the DSB.
That's what I was just wondering if I could snag.
I will try to, I can send you this if you want it,
The
this whole presentation. And I'll try to get that contact information from International and get it to you. All right. So do you think we can do 500 books in 500 hours? That, it actually says 500 books or 500 hours. I think we might could even do better, so I think we can do this. All right. Miss Jillian, I'm gonna turn this over to you.